Okay, so welcome back to the channel. And behind me you can see the new arrival. So as you can see, we got a Haas. This is an ST-15. No idea why it doesn't have the 15 here. Maybe them stickers were taken off by the previous owner. But yeah, this is a Haas ST-15. Year of manufacture is 2020. And I purchased this last month, or made the decision to purchase it last month, like I mentioned before in the previous video, and it turned up 2 days ago. But I've been sorting stuff out. The machine's still not up and running. I've just been doing bits and pieces and sorting out some other things outside of work. So I'm not up and running yet. We've got a few things to do before I'm ready to get up and running, but I'll be honest with you, I'm not in a major rush. Like I say, got a few things to sort out. But yeah, here she is. So what can I tell you about this machine? Well, whilst having a few issues with that, I kind of copped a strop and was thinking I'm fed up with old machines giving me jip, and that's sorted now. The jip I was having is done. And I've had that machine for years. I was having a sizing issue and something had come loose, but at the time it was stressing me out and I sorted it. Now it is a 30-year-old machine. It's still running, it's working again now, no problems. I'm going to sell this machine. If anyone's interested, then let me know, but it still is working. I've just been doing some Delrin parts on there. Just took the chuck off to compare drawbar setups between the two machines, but this is still up and running. But I think I'm going to get rid of it just because I think I'm going to be after all fully working, running. You can see it working. It's got a 3-drawer chuck. It's got a collet chuck. It's got about 22 collets. The tooling is probably worth more than the machine. I'm going to ask £5 grand for that if anyone's interested. Now back to this. Yeah, we bought it on a bit of sort of strop on a whim while I was having them problems, and I would be lying if I didn't say I'm now a little bit worried about carrying on and getting the continuous work for pay for the machine. I bought this machine on a small business loan. The chunk of money that I've got behind me after I sold the car, finished the Subaru, done all that, I didn't want to use all that in one hit. Tooling this machine up is quite expensive. I'll get into that in a minute. But I wanted to have a machine on a monthly payment. Some people say that's a crazy idea, but for me, it gives me time to see how things are going and get me through, because I'll be honest, this month has been very, very bad. So was last month, quiet work-wise. So having money behind me gets me through them quiet months, and then hopefully work can pick up. And especially with the new machine, I'll push for more work specifically for this machine if I can. But yeah, we've bought it. It's here. I'm going to move it back. It can move back ever so slightly, about 5 or 6 inches. And I'm not going to, I've said before in old videos, I'm never going to get a machine again that's right up against the door where you can only open the electrical cabinet a small bit. Same as the VF3 there, you can open that cabinet right up and it just about clears the electrical trunk in here. Same with this. Currently this one's about here, so I am going to push it back a bit till it's at its closest point that the door still fully opens, and then it gives you loads of room around here to get to the coolant, because that is inside the casting here, and when the swarf conveyor is out you have to get inside there as well, so plenty of room around the machine. I was able to use the power hook up here from when I had the VF1s and VF2s here. I had one here if you remember, and I had one here. So this machine is a very small footprint and it's only 20 amps. It says 18 amp largest, full load 20, which is exactly the same as the older mills. They are 20 amp largest load. So we could come straight in with the same power cable, wire it in, and this is the airdrop. Currently far too much air hose, but for the minute that's got me plumbed in so I can turn the machine on. Not much else to show you around the back of the machine. Coolant pump, tray, drain hole. This is for a level sensor for the coolant, and this is just the plug for the coolant. This is the plug for the swarf conveyor. It will be nice to have a swarf conveyor on the machine. I've never had one on the Quick Turn 15. They did come with them, a lot of them. My one didn't, so I've always had to ferry the chips out in digging them out with my hands because you can't get nothing in there to do it, and it will be nice to have a swath conveyor. So that's a good option, because no doubt with Haas you'd have to pay for these, well, any company you have to pay for them as an extra for the majority of people. Nice control here, unlike that one, which is a pre-next gen or classic control they call that. This is a next gen control because this is a 2020 machine. So this is like, I don't think they're touchscreen, but this is all singing, all dancing. Got the media display if you want it. Obviously it's USB, yada, yada, yada. So I don't even know the proper layout of this because this is next gen, that's classic, but it's a lovely looking control. We've got chuck foot pedal, tailstock foot pedal, pressure chuck and tailstock. This is the extension for the getting to the back of the drawbar. Now the previous owner did have a whoopsie there. I think when they first got it, they assumed that you could, I'm guessing, they assumed you could stick a bar out further than the back of the spindle bore, and obviously that resulted in whip round of the bar doing a little bit of damage. Now you can see there where the spindle ends, the cap and stuff is off currently, and I've got the extension tube coming, and then you can run full length spindle liners and run about 1.1 metre or 1100mm length bar stock through there if you're bar pulling, etc. So that's what that is for. We've got the air and lube cabinet, completely different to the miller machines where on the mills they're all set up along the bottom. This one is on a side cabinet, much easier to get to it than being tucked underneath on the mills, because I must admit I hate that, and it keeps it neat and tidy in its own cabinet. I'm pretty sure the newer mills from maybe about 2006, 2008 had this on the mills as well as the lathe. So spindle lube, the machine's been converted from grease to oil. So that was done pretty much when it was brand new. So I haven't got to worry about the messy grease scenario anymore. Not much else to show you in there. And then in here, if we turn that off, which way, this key is stiff. Then we've got the electrical cabinet. Obviously miles neater than the old stuff that I'm used to. But there we go, we've got an antenna there. I'm guessing that's for like your Haas Connect and bits and pieces like that. And then a few diagrams. So yeah, not really much else to show you in there. I have checked the incoming power and got it set on the correct legs. Ignore the black, brown, grey. Yes, L1 is brown, but the plug was wired wrong. So this is correct, L1, L2, L3. So yeah, that's that. All in there. So hydraulic oil and dipstick to check there, and we've got hydraulic schematic on there telling you what's what, and if you undo this panel you can look inside, and I've already done that and cleaned that off. Yeah, you can see up there auto door. So let's power it up now. Well, before it's powered up, I'll quickly show you in here. We've got an A26 spindle nose with a 2.5 inch through spindle bore, which is good. That is only 2 inch, or if you're lucky, I don't think it will do 2.25, I think it's 2 inch. This is 2.5 inch. Doesn't sound like much, but does make quite a difference. I've got the chuck off at the moment. It came with Sam Cully, however you pronounce it, 3-jaw. We've got the jaws over there, some other bits and pieces and tools laid out here. But I took it off at the minute because I'm trying to work out what collet chuck setup I can use. And unfortunately, I can't use the one off of my old lathe. So, auto tool presetter. There's your swath conveyor belt down there. This one's got a parts catcher, hydraulic tailstock. Manually you have to position it, but you can program the quill in and out, which is nice. And the biggest thing for me, which I will love, is the fact that this turret has got 12 tools rather than 8. On the Quick Turn 15, 8 is just not enough, because personally I have a rougher, a finisher, spot drill, another drill. Sometimes you want a double drill, then you have a boring bar, a threading tool, a bar puller, and you're out, that's it. So here will be nice because you'll be able to have things like this machine does rigid tapping, which that one does not have the option, and I tried a floating tap once and it did not work well, broke it pretty much every time. It didn't sync obviously, because it wasn't rigid tapping, and the floating tap didn't pan out. Broke every time I tried, so I never done that. I always done screw cutting if I needed to do a thread. But this has got rigid tapping, and I've seen that working, so all should be good. I look forward to using that. That'll be handy rather than second hopping in a mill or screw cutting, which is obviously a bit slower than tapping. Yeah, so 12 tools is going to be awesome. Let's turn it on. So it would help if I turned the power back on. So we're back on there. These controls take a while to boot up. Bit swolf in the air, I think there. Yeah, these take a while to boot up compared to the old ones. Never seen these controls boot up before. I did go and view this machine at the guy that I bought it from, because it's somebody I actually do work for, some sub work for, and I've seen it run. He was upgrading from the 2-axis to another ST-15, but he went to the Y-axis with live tooling. So there was nothing wrong with this. He just got rid of it because he wanted the live tool upgrade, and I'd mentioned I wouldn't mind buying this if he was selling it, and the price was right, so that's what we've done. So I have seen it running and making parts, and I know the history of it within reason. You know, it's been looked after. It's been checked when he's at it. If he has issues, he just gets Haas in, gets it sorted. He bumped a turret, he had Haas in, realign it, this, that and the other. So when it needs sorting, they get it sorted. So it's as good as you're going to get for a second-hand machine in that sense. So yeah, there's a lot of guff here when you power it on. And like I say, it does take quite some time to do. I haven't run a program yet. I've just started putting some tools in. The downside with this machine, all the boring bar sleeves, the collet sleeves, straight shank tooling, the drill sizes, everything is 32mm, whereas that is all 40mm, and all the tooling on this needs to be 20mm shank, whereas that is 25mm shank. So none of the tooling off of there, the chuck, the collet chuck, nothing off that fits on this. Didn't really take that into consideration. So just on 5 OD turning tools, some sleeves, 8 sleeves, 3 straight collet chucks. I bought 5 sets of soft jaws just because we need something coming up, and I bought a load of new bolts for all the bits and pieces that bolt onto the turret, and that was around 550, 650, 750 pounds or 780 pound, including the VAT, just for that stuff. And I'm in the middle of deciding what collet chuck set up to get, and that's going to be between £2,000 and £3,000. So on top of the price of the machine, you're looking at realistically £4,000 to tool it up, ready to work. And then on top of that, listen to this one, on top of that, if you want to buy the Haas full-length spindle liners, and I know there's other options, you can make up your own sections, people 3D print them, you can use, like they say, puck sections in around bars, but if you want to buy the extension for the draw tube and the Haas spindle liners, that is an extra £3,500. Now I did buy the extension adapter from the US for £300. I don't know what I'm going to do about liners yet for bar when I'm feeding full lengths of bar, but I'm going to cross that bridge later. I would love the full length spindle liners just for ease, rather than putting in sections, pushing them down the spindle. A full length liner would be really nice, but £2,500 on 15 plastic liners, I might have to just buy what I need when I need it. So we shall see. But yeah, you need potentially, if you add in that, £4,000 to £7,500 just to get the machine ready to cut. So here we go, servo's turned off, and then it's telling you here, and this is all new to me, so we've cycled the door, emergency stopper's off, press power up. The door is open. Oh, tell you this, a feature on this one. Oh, cancel. Look at that, auto door. This was an ex-demo machine before the guy bought it, so it had all these options. But if you want to buy the extension for the draw tube and the Haas spindle liners, that is an extra £3,500. Now I did buy the extension adapter from the US for £300. I don't know what I'm going to do about liners yet for bar when I'm feeding full lengths of bar, but I'm going to cross that bridge later. I would love the full length liners just for ease, rather than putting in sections, pushing them down the spindle. A full length liner would be really nice, but £2,500 on 15 plastic liners, I might have to just buy what I need when I need it. So we shall see. But yeah, you need potentially, if you add in that, £4,000 to £7,500 just to get the machine ready to cut. So here we go, servo's turned off, and then it's telling you here, and this is all new to me, so we've cycled the door, emergency stopper's off, press power up. The door is open. Oh, tell you this, a feature on this one. because it was a demo machine, so it had the auto door, it had the swath conveyor, it had the presetter, it had the tailstock. So yes, if we go back into the power up, it says here, normally you just power up restart on the mills, but this one you have to press T to do the tool. You have to do it in order. That's it, it finds its spot, gives you a tick, and then A to zero the X and then the Z. So if I press A, it's homing out X, homing out Z. Now you can open the door manually now, or you can be super lazy and you can press the button and have the door open for you. Now that's a feature that I can imagine if you're standing there all day doing individual parts that are quite quick, then that would be very handy if you're just sort of button pushing. Or when you want to know the program's finished, if you was in a really noisy shop and you couldn't hear the machine running and you're looking from a bit of a distance, the door will open when the cycle's finished. So that's quite a good feature, I can imagine. But I think now, currently, Haas want about £3,000 or £4,000 for that option. So it's very expensive if you want it now separately to add it on when you buy the machine. But this just had it when he bought it, so it's one of those things. And now the program and the page layouts and everything here, I know nothing. I literally don't know how to do anything yet, so I can't really show you much more than that. I do know that I'm going to be able to now do programs on Fusion 360, send them straight over to the machine via the little gadget from Carpus Engineering that I got. If you remember, I was running it on there, and I can run it on here, and that's actually who I bought the machine from, Tom at Carpus Engineering. So I can do Fusion 360 programs and send them over to here, and I much prefer that. On the Hyundai Mazak QuickTurn 15, it's Mazatrol, conversational programs. None of the programs in there can be taken out and put into any other machine other than the Mazatrol. So a lot of stuff needs to be reprogrammed from scratch, and I've got 350 saved programs in there. Probably 250 of them are one-offs and I'll never need them again, but there's probably 100, maybe 150 at a push that I do repeat, you know, for myself or for people. So bit by bit I will transition over to here. If that doesn't sell, I will keep a hydraulic chuck set up on here, a colic chuck, sorry, and a 3-jaw chuck on there, I think. And then when that goes, hopefully that goes. One, I want the space to put an office over there, and I don't want to be running 2 machines. I haven't got the work for 2 machines, so there's no point. Then that one will free up a bit of money. I can put an office over there and clear a bit more space in the workshop. So yeah, I don't really know what else to tell you at the moment. The machine needs to be leveled, it needs coolant, it needs setting up with the tooling. I've started to put some tools on here. I know some people like to run all the turning tools, OD turning tools here, and all your drills and boring bars on the other side, so that when you're turning, the chunkier sections like this are out of the way. Personally, I'm going to have to see how I get on. On the other machine, I've always kind of evenly distributed the weight of things. So if you've got a big U-drill sticking out here, I don't want all big U-drills and stuff and boring bars on one section. Probably makes no difference, but I like to even them out. So boring or drilling, turning, boring or drilling, turning. Whether that pans out or not, I'm not sure on this one. The way the turret comes down and the fact there's more tools on this means they're closer together, so there's less clearance. So I'll have to see how that works out. It's all trial and error, and I've just got to be super duper careful that nothing interferes when you're machining or crashes. Don't get me wrong, I have crashed that lathe on a few occasions, bumping tools into the workpiece where an offset's wrong. I've never had a bad crash in it, touch wood, that stays for all the machines. I've never had any bad bumps in it, but I've had bumps where I've had to rejig and realign the turret, and it's not a massive job. I don't know how hard that is to do on these because I don't know how it works, but I don't want to be doing that, fingers crossed. So yeah, that's it for the moment. I'll do another video when I'm up and running because again, I don't really know what else to show you. So for the moment, that is the new Haas ST-15. and we shall see you on the next video. Hopefully I'll have some work through the door and we can see this one cutting some chips. So cheers for watching, see you again soon.